Imagine you're strapped to a metal contraption that starts twisting your limbs slowly while all you can do is hope that your mates are going to pull off a miracle and save you. These are the Saw traps, but they get increasingly more impossible. At number 1 we have the eye vacuum from Saw 10. You wake up and realize you're part of the latest jigsaw trap. You have your hands strapped to a metal support and some strings tied around your skinny fingers. At the same time, there's a scary mask attached to your face with tubes connecting your eyes to a vacuum. Next to your left hand, you have a dial with numbers from 1 to 5. Turning the dial will result in one of your fingers being snapped at a 90-degree angle. In order to leave, all you have to do is snap all 5 of your fingers. Yeah, that's right. Just spin the dial to 5 in one motion and done. If you ask me, I'd rather have my hand in a cast for 2 months than my eyes detached from my optic nerve. I guess we can all agree that this strap has a 99% survival rate if you're not a coward, which puts this strap in the F tier. Moving on, at number 2 we have the needle prick from Saw 2. Here you're faced with a giant pit full of dirty syringes that will probably give you an illness I can't even mention here. I'm sure you'd love the idea of snapping a finger again, but sadly that's not an option. Now let's take this scenario from the movie. Amanda gets thrown in by Xavier without her consent. At this point the hardest part, which is jumping in the pit, is done, so you might as well just send it and search for the escape key. There's no real way of dying from this. Of course you can get a nasty infection, but if you're treated in time, it's no biggie. Overall, I'm only giving this trap a 97% survival rate due to the chances of getting a nasty infection. I wasn't sure if I should put this in the A tier or not because of the painful nature of the trap, but after seeing what atrocities are coming up, I decided to put this one in the F tier as well. At number 3 we have the infamous reverse bear trap from Saw 1. Amanda wakes up with a reverse bear trap locked on her head. Jigsaw starts explaining that there's only one key that will set her free, and that key is hidden deep inside the stomach of a dead man. All she has to do in order to live is to use the scalpel she's been given and dig for that key. Now this trap is also one of the easier ones. You don't have to harm yourself in any way, but if you mess up, the consequences are far worse than before. Right as she prepares to make the first incision, the man appears to wake up. I don't know if Amanda noticed this or not, but she keeps going, searching for the key. I can't even blame her, I'd have probably done the same. If Amanda had stopped in time for the man to step back, maybe there would have been a way for both of them to survive, but this isn't guaranteed. Depending on where the key is located, the man could have forced himself to vomit out the key. Now this is a risky move since the time is not on your side, so Amanda did what was best for her, plus it wouldn't be better if both of them died. In my opinion, this trap has a 90% survival rate, which puts this trap in the E tier. At number 4 we have the water cube trap from Saw 5. Agent Strom wakes up with his head locked up in what appears to be a cube connected to 2 giant water jars through some large hoses. He immediately rushes to grab his gun, only to realize that Hoffman took every item from him. Right as he thought it was over, he found a pen in his pocket that Hoffman missed. Without thinking twice, he stuck the pen in his neck, making a hole in his trachea to help him breathe. This strategy worked flawlessly for Strom, but others wouldn't be so lucky as he was. If you stick that pen in the wrong place, you risk piercing an artery, which will result in a painful death. Assuming you have no pen around you, the only option you have left is trying to pull off the hoses. Now I don't think Hoffman is this stupid, so in case he glued the hoses to the box, you can try to pull them off to the sides, stopping the flow of the water in the process. Since this trap is crafted by Hoffman, I guess it's safe to say it's not supposed to be beaten, so I'll give this an 80% survival rate, which puts this trap in the E tier, not far from D tier. At number 5 we have the tongue trap from Spiral. You wake up dangling from the ceiling of a subway station, your tongue stuck in a vise that looked like it came straight out of a torture museum. Under you, nothing but air and the cold, hard subway tracks. And in about 30 seconds, a train is going to run you over. Now here's the catch. All you have to do is jump off, rip your tongue out in the process and crawl away before the train turns you into red mist. Seems pretty simple, right? Well, not really. You're in shock, bleeding and probably disoriented as hell. The pain from tearing your tongue is going to be enough to knock most people out, and even if you somehow stay conscious, you have to move fast or you'll be pavement paint. But here's the thing, it is technically survivable. The guy in the movie hesitates too much and ends up getting killed. But if you've got the guts and maybe some pain tolerance from biting on your tongue during every awkward conversation, you might actually make it. Ripping out your tongue will in fact kill you since it's connected to a bunch of blood vessels and muscles, but you can easily escape if you ignore the pain and bite your tongue instead. I'll be generous here and say that this trap has about a 60% survival rate. That's assuming you don't faint, freeze or fumble the landing. This one earns a solid D tier. At number 6 we have the laser collar from Jigsaw. You wake up strapped to a chair in a dark room with this high-tech collar around your neck. On the ceiling, laser beams pointing right at your face. Next to you is another unlucky soul with the same collar on, and in front of you is a classic Jigsaw tape that tells you both confess your sins or die. Now here's the trick, only one of you is walking out of there alive. One person tells the truth, the other one lies, and the liar gets turned into a flower. Sounds like a lie detector test but with way higher stakes. Now is it escapable? Well, not really. See, this trap is rigged from the start. Logan, the guy who dies, actually faked his own death and had a non-lethal collar all along. If you're just a normal dude in here, it's pure psychological warfare. Now let's say for a second you're smart enough to realize you're being set up. One possible move is to try stalling. Play into Jigsaw's rules, confess fast and hope that the system believes you. It is a stretch, but it's either this or becomes less the limit. All in all, I'd say that this has a 40% survival rate if you play your cards right and somehow guess what the game actually is. But most people wouldn't even get close, so I'm dropping this one in the D tier. At number 7 we have the finger trap from Spiral. You're in a warehouse, strapped down with your fingers locked into these mechanical sleeves. Think of Chinese finger traps that meet a bone grinder. Next to you is a big red button and across the room a live TV showing your bodycam footage being leaked to the press. You're a cop who did something dirty and now Jigsaw wants your fingers. The rules: hit the button fast enough and your fingers will be slowly put back one by one like meat spaghetti. If you don't press the button, the water level rises until it meets an electric wire and you'll be cooked alive. And just to spice it up, there's a countdown before everything goes to hell. So is there a way out? Look, in theory, yes. If you immediately slam the button and brace through the slow finger pulling, you might live, but most people panic. They scream, they hesitate. That's what happened to the poor guy in the movie. But even if you somehow survive, you're not walking out of there in one piece. No fingers, lots of blood, and a hospital bill that's going to look like a phone number. I'd give this trap a 25% survival rate. That's a solid C tier. At number 8 we have the glass shredder from Spiral. And yeah, this one's just pure overkill. You're strapped to a metal frame, arms raised and chest exposed, and behind you, a big industrial funnel. The machine starts up and surprised, it begins shooting shards of glass at you like you're a piñata filled with guilt. They slice through your back non-stop like you owe Jigsaw money and paid in pennies. But it gets worse, you're not alone. Someone else is in the room, watching. They've got the power to shut off the machine, but only if they reach into a control box that's filled with electrified wires. So really, this isn't even your trap, it's theirs, you're just meat in the blender. Now let's talk survival. If the person watching you is fast, brave and has zero concern about their nerve endings, you might live. But in the movie the guy takes too long and you get turned into a fine red mist. So is there a way out? If the helper is superhuman, then yes, but realistically you're done. No defense, no time. I'm giving this trap a 10% survival rate and even that's generous. It's fast, painful and entirely dependent on someone else's pain tolerance. But this one's living permanently in the B tier. At number 9 we've got the wreck from Saw 3. If you've made it this far, congrats, but this is where your hope dies. You're naked, strapped to a giant spinning crucifix made out of rusted metal and pure evil. Your arms are spread out, your legs are locked in place and each limb is rigged to a hydraulic system that slowly twists them one by one, starting from the wrist and ankles and ending with your neck. That's right, it saves the best for last. You don't even get the mercy of a blackout. You're awake for every single snap. Now let's talk about options. You've got none. You're not the player in this trap, someone else is. They have a shotgun and a choice. Either forgive you for killing their child in a drunk driving accident or fumble with the key and get sprayed in the chest with a shotgun shell. So yeah, your survival rate depends entirely on whether a grieving parent is willing to let you go. Spoiler alert, he hesitates and you get spun like a rotisserie chicken. Is there any way to survive? If you're lucky, maybe the guy makes a decision fast enough. But even if he tries, that thing is grinding your bones for every second you're stuck. Realistically, even if you get out halfway through, you're not walking too far. Survival rate 5%. Welcome to A tier, the top of the worst. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing while I make sure to catch you on the next one.